And that man, Erling Haaland, what a start to his Manchester City career, Shaun.
Yes.
3 goals, 1 assist already.
Yes, and he's doing exactly what we anticipated from him. And the more understanding he gets with the players, the more his performances will improve, and also his goals as well. So here comes the man. Yeah, I mean, they all look very relaxed. They're looking forward to it.
They do look relaxed. I mean, I think it's a supply line as well, isn't it? Regards to Erling Haaland getting those opportunities. Obviously, chances when they're there, he will put them away. But he's still finding his feet. But it's a great return so far. We're all excited. That's the talking point, isn't it? Still, I think hopefully we can continue right throughout the season.
We are very, very excited. Let's bring you that all-important team news for Manchester City today. We have our goalkeeper, of course, Ederson, Kyle Walker, Ruben Diaz, John Stones, Joao Cancelo. We have Rodri, De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, Phil Foden and our number 9, Erling Haaland. The substitutes for Manchester City, we have Ortega, Gundogan, Alvarez, Gomez, who made his debut in the game against Barcelona, Palmer, Gomez, Lewis Knight and Wilson Esbrand. I must come to you, Shaun, straight away with the team. It's very much an expected lineup for Man City today.
Well, for me, whoever we put in is absolute quality. I'm looking at the team, and again, even if somebody subs in, I just see it as a strong team. I'm just really intrigued. I know there's talking points around Haaland and everything in terms of our front line, but I look at our back line and I think we have to be on it. I'm intrigued as to what Pep's going to do, because we know with Palace, they have really quick players. So whether a fullback comes inside to, alongside Rodri and makes it a little bit tighter and stiffer, creating a block, or does both fullbacks come inside? What does he do? Because I think we've got to stifle certainly Crystal Palace.
I think it's the counter-attack, isn't it? I think that's something Pep Guardiola is always concerned about, and rightly so. We've seen at Newcastle last week, there was a couple of changes. They created chances that probably you wouldn't normally expect against Manchester City. So it's a real solid performance we're looking for. Obviously, wider areas, they have got threats, but it's certainly a game. I know Crystal Palace has come in. You've mentioned it already after last season. I really want a big performance today, big game, big statement, and I think we can get that.
And speaking of big games and big performances and big players, Kevin De Bruyne has been involved in 25 goals in his last 23 Premier League games. That is absolutely exceptional. He's had 14 goals, 11 assists, and he's assisted in each of his last 4 appearances, which is a Man City record, by the way. He's looking to beat that today. I think the other players were Martin Petrov, 2007 from the wing. We used to love watching him. David Silva in 2011, Yaya, and of course De Bruyne in 2019. He's looking to become the first ever Man City player to assist in 5 consecutive Premier League appearances. You've got to back him, Michael, right?
Well, I wouldn't bet against him. I think it's embarrassing. We're doing the commentary actually talking about how good Kevin De Bruyne is, and I actually seen him having a bit of a laugh and joke about it. So you've got to go careful a little bit with that right foot, because it's embarrassing how good we keep saying he is. But it's that supply line. I think once he gets into those areas, something happens. If I'm a striker, if there's a wide player, once it's sat back, or the ball last week where he just threads it inside, something different you didn't expect. He can get shots away on both sides. And I just think it's generally now he's on top of his game. I think he's a great way, a great leader, and I expect more from him. It's hard to bet against that he's going to create something today. You can see he's going to. And I wouldn't put him back, get goals as well.
Yeah, for me, I mean, talk about him being a leader. He leads with his games and his standards. So I'm trying to think. It was pre-season when we're looking at the games and you think, oh, we need to win this game, and all of a sudden he just comes out of nowhere and changes the game. Do you get that understanding though? Do you know when he does that? So as you're looking at Erling Haaland, obviously coming into the team, it's going to take a little bit of time. Understanding as a striker that when a certain player gets it, you have that look. Yeah. And I'm waiting to get them together on that sort of wavelength. We've seen some good passes already, some assists, but I feel if they get going together and he understands where to go and stand, I think that's going to be the difference. I think Kevin De Bruyne makes Erling Haaland's season. Well, yeah, but the great thing you talk about, I know we're talking about KDB in terms of him, but one of the games I saw Rodri assist Haaland with an opportunity. I saw Gundogan set him up with an opportunity. KDB, so it was a
so you're doing it again now. You're giving everyone the comment. We're talking about Kevin De Bruyne.
I know.
I've actually said they'll come to it. It'll be time. They won't feel bad.
That understanding, you're absolutely right. That understanding that they'll get, that eye contact. There's times when, as a striker, you look and you know he's about to receive it. He's received it. His head's up. That eye contact.
So you
and
know
just
when he
move.
takes that particular.
We have to
touch.
talk about this pass as well. The Kevin De Bruyne pass.
That's the one we mentioned, wasn't it?
That is ridiculous. Like, how does he see that so quick? And obviously, you're speaking about the understanding before, Michael. That's very much it. Bernardo sort of reads that De Bruyne is capable of making that pass. No one saw that pass coming, surely. I mean, the defenders, he's beaten 4 defenders with that.
He takes chances with the pass, though, because he has that confidence that if it fails, it doesn't matter, because a lot of the time I will have that success. Other players in the centre of the pitch there, if it was that was a Rodri, for instance, who hasn't got that maybe aura of assist at this moment in time, that goes straight to a Newcastle player in the counter. I can imagine Pep Guardiola's reason: keep the ball, be safe, circulate it. But with Kevin De Bruyne, he's got that little knack, that way of doing it. It looked like it was going wide. So, for instance, when he gets into those areas and pushes it out, you know he's going to have that shot. But he just has a little slider just up his sleeve every now and then, or that reverse shot that sometimes he chops back.
Shaun, I can see you smiling already. It's a forward's dream.
It absolutely is. And what
You
I
have
like
to run
it,
to get on the back of it, though.
Well, that's true.
Well, what would you have done?
And that's what City do.
He would have finished it, I'll tell you that. He definitely would have finished it.
He'd have actually hit you on the spot.
Yeah, listen, he would have found me. And what I like is an old school one, as Spurs, you did that sort of reverse pass. He's received it and he's looking, and that's what City offer. They offer runners, and he's seen
The run's good. The run's good
exceptional.
as well. I think that's the difference.
He's picked him out.
Because it maybe could have went over the top, but actually it was inside and through.
It just seems like absolute fine margins are spot on, and I think if you're a second off in maybe with the run or even the weight of the pass, that doesn't happen. That's just perfect, and that's no mistake. That is just.
It'll be important today that the level of the passing and the speed of the runs, the speed of the passing, because a well-drilled Crystal Palace defence who look like they're going to go with that back three. So you're going to have to find something really quick or get into the areas, forward runs. I mean, that's where Ilkay Gundogan's really good, isn't he? Getting that late run. So now it's kind of different personnel. Bernardo Silva inside, not in a wider area.
Absolutely, yeah. It is going to be an interesting game today. Remember, you guys who are watching, I am in the studio. I've got the pleasure of being with Shaun and Michael, but you guys can ask as many questions as you want. Simply just drop us a message on the WhatsApp. You can also download the Man City app to gain access to City Plus and the exclusive live commentary. If you haven't watched Together Champions Again, a new episode came out on Thursday, and it was incredible. No spoilers from me, but make sure you've watched the episode. I think it's episode 5 of the 7-part series, so make sure you've watched that. Going back to the City team now, I know, Shaun, you heap the praise on Rodri there for his passing. Actually, let's talk about how important he is to this Man City side in a game like Crystal Palace. You'd argue Palace will try and play on the counter today, and him breaking up that play is super important for us to gain momentum and keep the ball.
It definitely is. I think what we'll find is when City are in the attack is can they sustain the attack, and his position is important because he'll take up positions where City are able to sustain it. And what I mean by sustain it, it doesn't mean he's necessarily the one giving it through pass. It just means he's in a position. So when the ball gets relieved, he's then in a position to receive it and transition it out the other side, and it keeps the pressure on. So City's able to sustain that attack. So his positions are vitally important so that City can keep them in the final third, keep possession, move their players, and then all of a sudden we find these gaps to exploit.
I think he's got a really important role. When you look as that holding midfield player, and you're talking about Joao Cancelo coming inside, Kyle Walker coming inside. So if they are down the sides in a 5-4-1 type situation, and whether it be Eze on the left-hand side, as a central midfield player, you're looking and you're going, right, well, where's the danger? I'm going to be the screen in front, there's Edouard, and at that point, can I get out to those wide areas? The fullback's gone, we're going to get him behind. So that's where the role, and I think he's got so much better of understanding when to screen, when to step across and go out and help in wide areas. But I think the biggest improvement is not just how he screens, is how he takes the ball. So that allows him now more confidence, a little bit more time. He's comfortable with people around him. So he's gaining more time, more understanding, more composure.
Every time, that composure is a massive word. Every time I seem to watch him, he gets better and better and better. And that composure is so important because it sets the tone for the whole midfield, right, Michael? So essentially, if you've got
he keeps the ball.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
So it used to be a few square passes, for instance. He didn't cover the ground, maybe the first 10 yards as quick. And as I found, as you go to the top of the game, the best players of those first 10 yards do it very quick, whether it be with the ball, whether it be out of possession, rather than labour a little bit slower. And I think That's something he really improved over those 10 yards of understanding when to go and obviously just be a little bit quicker. And I think he's a top class player, and I think he's, you'd say he's just getting better and better. I really enjoy watching him. It's an unselfish role when he gets forward and gets a couple of goals like he did last season.
He doesn't score bad goals though, does he?
Doesn't. And then, I think, and it was like Fernandinho, when they go and get that reward, because there's an unselfish role, not like these strikers, to get all the rewards all the time.
He gets rewards. This is why we're talking about him. He puts out fires. He positions himself really well. Interesting talking about pace. I think sometimes as well, what you'll find that City do sometimes, we provoke a pass, meaning we give a slow pass to provoke somebody to jump, and then all of a sudden there's a transition of passing that goes really quick to create space. So interesting, sometimes we look and we go, it's moving slow. And certainly at our times it used to be, move the ball quick, move the ball quick. Yes, it's important to move the ball quick, but if you're moving the ball quick all the time, the opposition are also moving quick all the time. So, certainly some of the stuff we'll see is them moving the ball slowly, purposely, to then also have their change of pace.
All about the momentum, and we've also got really good strength and depth in that position. Well, obviously, we wish Calvin Phillips all the best with his recovery. He got injured in Barcelona, and speaking of Barcelona, Ortega made his debut. One man is in instead of him. It's our #1 goalkeeper, Ederson. Obviously, against Crystal Palace, they're going to play in the counter, and we saw what they did in the away game at Anfield, where they had one chance essentially and took it really well. How important is Ederson going to be today in terms of not just obviously keeping the clean sheet, which we would love to see as we see him warming up on the screen now, looking as relaxed and as cool as ever with Scott Carson. His distribution could be really, really key today as well to finding that pass which will unlock the defence.
Well, he's vitally important, certainly when we're in possession and building up from the back. I just say one of my favourite players, but he's one of those that I think his line, as in how deep we are as a team or how high we are as a team, because if they'll be looking to counter-attack, I think his position is important.
It is key, right? And for me, you look, and he has such long periods of time where he doesn't get any touches of the ball, nothing against him. He's almost bored, and that's where the level of concentration comes in. And sometimes he rushes out a little bit quick, and he gets caught sometimes. That's the one criticism, if we're going to say, about Ederson. And it's hard to find something with unbelievable distribution, some great saves. But when it's on the counter, that's when, if you're coming, they're going to be in really, really quickly. You've got to make sure you get it right, either to stay, let the other players recover, but try not to get caught, because at a long period, that's it, you're going to have that possession. Yeah. And that's the hardest thing, to stand there, and he wants to be involved. He's like an outfield player, isn't he?
Yeah.
He wants to ping the ball, have a touch, give it me, and playing. Sometimes he just can be a little bit quick coming out.
The other interesting thing about him is as well, what teams know, even though they know, they still can get it wrong. If they push up and press, for some reason they counter-attack and they push up, but then the ball is moved to Ederson. We've seen him have that quality where he's hitting a 60-yard pass and take the defence right out, to the wide player.
Well, he can do that. As soon as the press is on, I think that's the difference. His distribution, he can drop it straight into Haaland.
Yeah.
And it's pinpoint. Or he can go to the wider area, or even put it over the top. He's got such a long range. But what will Palace do today? Will they come out and press? And Newcastle's front three, so will there be more of a 5-4-1, or are we going to see a 3-4-3 formation? A braver Patrick Vieira, we'll soon see.
We will talk about Patrick Vieira a little bit later. We have got the Crystal Palace team, but before so, we have also got an official WhatsApp number for you, like I mentioned before. The WhatsApp number should be on your screen in any second now. Please feel free to send in your questions for anybody in the studio. Shaun is itching for any question, whatever question you like, as is Michael. And if you want to ask me anything, I don't know why, but you're more than welcome to as well. But please send them in. Let's take a look at our visitors team today then. So for Crystal Palace, apologies in advance if I mess up the pronunciation. We have a goalkeeper, Guaita. We have Ward, Mitchell, Gueye, Ayew, Eze, Schlupp, Anderson, Klein, Edouard and Decore. And the substitutes for Crystal Palace is Johnston, Whitworth, Miljovic, Elise, Mateta, Hughes, Ibue, Richards and Rodney. Michael, let's come to you. We did just speak briefly about what you think Palace have done. Now that you see the lineup, have you got any predictions for how they're going to play the game? Of the Crystal Palace players arriving at the Etihad. It's a nice little sky blue tracksuit they've got there. They've nearly got the right colours. But yeah, you were saying about
just looking at it, obviously. Joel Ward, who we just seen in the picture, know him well, played with him at Portsmouth, great, honest player, right back that might go right of 3 centre-backs. So it's a bit of an unusual position. So if I'm looking to say, well, how do I get in behind him? His distribution will be a little bit different. And in the middle of the pitch, that's where City will want to play that overload. So if they play the front 3, they're really brave. That leaves 2 in the middle of the park for De Bruyne, Rodri, Bernardo Silva. So there's the overload on that way. So will they all bang back 5-4-1? We don't know, but they've got some talented attacking players. I'm pretty much happy not to see Wilfried Zaha in that side. That's a big miss for them.
Very much a big miss. And Crystal Palace were one of 4 teams Man City failed to beat in the Premier League last season, and the only side we failed to score against, I think, in the away game at Selhurst Park. You mentioned Zaha being out, which is a huge miss for them. That surely changed it when you've got a player of that ability and someone who likes to actually play against Man City. He really does turn up against us, Shaun, and him missing, it's a chance for Eze to step up for them.
Yes, Eze, it was funny earlier, just seeing him on the pitch there, looking around and sort of taking in, I suppose, the what's to come. But it's a big role for him. For me, I actually like him in terms of, what he is as a player. He's really good at dribbling, but I think it's an opportunity for him to step up. As somebody I watch and observe for not being a City player, I think that this is probably a good opportunity because Zaha, he normally sort of tries to play to Zaha, and I think he needs to think of himself as a key player. Now, in saying that, I want to keep him quiet. we need to keep him quiet, but
Kyle Walker even mentioned him, didn't he? Kyle Walker mentioned him in the interview, obviously on Man City's app. Down that right-hand side as well could be very, very dangerous. I understand Joao Cancelo coming inside. I think he's a very much an improved one. But in the middle of the pitch, Decore, he can hold it. We'll talk about holding midfield players. So a real threat, getting a system and understanding from the manager. And I think it's time that City really, give Crystal Palace a cracking game and hopefully a good start.
They have actually taken 7 points from their last Premier League away games against Man City. That in recent times is unheard of, but it's commendable for Crystal Palace, and it shows obviously they've got a new manager now, but even under Roy Hodgson they made it very, very difficult for City, especially at the Etihad, which is unlike us.
Yeah, when they've came here, I think it was Townsend had scored a screamer. He cut in, and you're sort of thinking, well, go on, shoot. Well, no keeper really stops it. And they've really performed well when they've come here. So, again, it'll be a tough one today. I think it's so important when we talk about Rodri. I think our midfield is key in terms of being able to, when we have the ball, and sustain those pressures. But then once it's lost, being able to win that ball back, or something that Fernandinho used to be very good at is getting that foul early to stop that counter attack, because they got pace. You have to respect
they're much better with the ball as well. I think something under Roy Hodgson, great system, great out of possession, hard to beat, and then obviously came forward from that shape. But when you look at them now, Patrick Vieira has given them that confidence to go and play, to move forward through the pitch, and I think they're enjoying it. They really enjoy day-to-day training sessions, and
these
I think it'll be a test.
Shots of the tunnel right now. Our boys are ready to go out. Surely the atmosphere is going to be fantastic today. We said that the sun had come back from Barcelona. Unfortunately, the clouds are back out now, so it's real Manchester weather. But I mean, there's a lot of sky blue shirts, and really looking forward to a loud Etihad and hopefully something to make a lot of noise about today, Shaun.
Yeah, certainly. I think, once obviously the boys know what the atmosphere is going to be like, it's going to be, again, absolutely mint. But it's interesting in terms of when we think about Crystal Palace and them, I pretty much think they'll have a low block and they'll try to block up holes and gaps. And I think that'll have been something that Pep would have been working on, knowing that they'll play a 5-4-1, and if they do play a 4-3-3, then where are the spaces and how can we exploit them? So, but Patrick is one of those that he knows some of our tricks, because he's been here and knows a bit of the City DNA. So it'll be an interesting one today.
The wider areas, the wide players, how they can affect it. Can they be really high, or will they drive inside? Will they go to the line? And the two eights, maybe Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, have got to run in behind. They've got to try and stretch them to create that space think if it's a little bit slow, I think this team are going to get in shape. But yeah, I think it's a fascinating game, another challenge. It's a different one. After obviously a midweek travel, which you wouldn't normally see of a friendly, would you, where everybody got some minutes. So back on home turf, I think City will be really wanting to get a performance, and if you hear Erling Haaland, you'll be looking to increase that goal tally today.
Absolutely, and surely he wants his goal at the Etihad as well.
Did you say the golden boot? He wants that.
Well, he wants that as well, and he looks like he's very keen for it. But I mean, how important is it? Well, we know what Erling Haaland's about. He's relishing every moment. We've just seen a little smile from him straight away. It seems like he's ice cold, just like our goalkeeper Ederson, like we said earlier. But he would love to score today, surely, like any striker would, Shaun.
Oh, he would. I mean, when I see him, it's funny because players have different game faces. His face actually gets serious in his game face. You have some players that are sort of, they have a smile, but he's got this game face. When you look at him, he's about business, and again, he will be wanting to get on his score sheet. But I also think equally important, and probably more so important, he just wants to again get that relationship with the midfielders even better. And he knows that, timing of his runs, when they receive the balls, recognizing their spaces to exploit. Because he knows that he'll get opportunities, but once he starts to read them, they read him, they understand him, he'll get chances, and we know he'll be scoring goals.
And he's settled in really, really quickly, Michael. Like it seems like he's been here for years already.
I think the player unveiling. I think he settled in straight away from then. He said, hi to everybody, great, I'm ready to go. I've got the confidence to go and take it on. And said it probably in commentary in many interviews now. His dad was there, we were all watching. He just said, I don't know how he has that feeling, just as if he's going to go and take it on, where he's not scared to go and walk into that dressing room. It was almost, I'm here and I'm going to join in, where normally you'd be a bit thinking, I've got to prove my worth here, I've got to get
bide my time.
Just fully, it's a strange mentality, but you can see a striker's mentality, but he's full of confidence. He needs to still obviously get better and understand the build-up and how he comes into play a little bit more than he has. That will take a bit of time, but he's going to score goals and he's going to get better. I mean, it's a great story, isn't it? And listen, it's just a joy. We look at City and we're looking at the teams, the setup. Where's Phil Foden going to be? Riyad Mahrez, how is he going to get on? And another talking point from the other night was the penalty. You talk about Erling Haaland, Riyad Mahrez. I think that was a really good one when we were on about Haaland of who's going to take the ball. We're all going, which one is it? Riyad said, that's mine, I'm taking it for now. And I think it was a big moment, wasn't it?
It was a brilliant penalty as well.
Great penalty.
Exceptional. But what I like about Haaland was in the game when he grabbed it for a penalty, he basically said, I want to be amongst the penalty takers. And that just shows confidence. He could have been a player that came in and went, I'll just bide my time, and eventually be put up there with the numbers in terms of who wants to take a penalty. But he was fouled, he grabbed the ball and went, I want to be part of the penalty takers. And we saw Mahrez went, well, if you're part of it, this is what we do. You want to be part of the big boys? We put it in the top corners. Mahrez penalty.
But do you think he was waiting for Riyad? I hope he misses it. It comes back down to me and I'll score the rebound and then I take the next one.
It will be interesting.
That's the striker's mentality.
Some strikers think that way.
Hopefully we still score, but he misses. We'll get the rebound.
Well,
and I'll take the ball from now on. That's another 10 goals.
I mean, well, that's what we tend to get a lot of penalties as well. And I mean, the pressure's now on Riyad to take every penalty really, really well, because he knows that Haaland's in the wing, and based on his penalty at West Ham.
You say pressure, but I think it's more about it's just more relaxed as opposed to pressure to deliver it. I think he's taking penalties and he's just saying, guys, this is what I do. So there's belief in him and there's trust in him. Like, I think players go now, like, and even the fans, like, Mahrez is only pants. And Haaland's had a penalty stuck in the way. He's got the confidence.
He's got that confidence. He wants the pressure. Absolutely. He wants to take it on. And if he misses, he misses. And I'm interested to see how he gets on today. Riyad Mahrez. Yeah. That's one player. So he didn't play a couple of games, didn't really feature at Newcastle. So we're sort of saying, what type of performance is it? You're always trying to prove something. I don't know how you feel like, Shaun, where you're missing certain games and you're looking over your shoulder, do you get frustrated? How do you, some of these players can't play, but they're really big talents, big egos, and must be difficult.
They come in and have to deliver. We're talking about relationships, but Mahrez is one. When I look at Mahrez and Erling, I think to myself, that's 6-7 goals, because Mahrez crosses the sweetest balls, and he misses out defenders. And once he starts to read how he crosses, I think he's delivering balls. He's just getting glances on them.
My point was, though, is he didn't get picked. He didn't play at Newcastle.
Yeah.
There was no Jack Grealish. He changed it. Joe, do you think there's a reaction to that? I don't understand rotation, but that would have, if I'm Riyad Mahrez, I'm looking and saying, that's my game. I want to be involved in it. Not to make it. Does that put fire in your belly? Do you actually say, well, OK, I'm going to be more determined? Do you accept it? Because I think if you accept it at this level, you're almost losing that something out of your character.
I think we all know, we know, having been there, in terms of you believe in a manager because of the games he plays you in. Mahrez will look back and reflect, have I played in big games? And the answer is yes. So that's where he gets his answer from. So he'll look at a Newcastle game and he'll go, well, OK, it's about rotation. Today I'm being rested. I'm in for the next game.
No chance.
Michael's not happy.
No chance.
Yeah,
no chance. Riyad Mahrez will not be happy. He'll want to play every game. I love that. I want that. And I'm as a manager or someone in the squad, I want him to say, come and ask me why. Come and say, how do I play in that game week in, week out? Because you look, certain players don't get rotated.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Because this is what they want. This is the type of stuff. We want them to be right. I want that fight. I want them to do that. Don't accept it.
I think, certainly in our time, you wanted to play every game. But I think today, if you want to win every trophy, I start to look and say, if this is the other striker, it's your day to do it. I'm OK to sit on the bench, just deliver. And when it's my turn, you look at me and say, Shaun, deliver. And I think that's the mentality of the players today, as opposed to, I need to play every game, because I can't play every game and give the energy.
How do you get to the level, though, where you Kevin De Bruyne, he plays every game?
He don't play every game. He plays 80% of games.
We have got a really, really hectic fixture list coming up, so we will have to see whether Kevin does play. He does play 80+% of the games, but with the schedule before the World Cup,
I think it's a great debate. It's a great talking point, isn't it?
It is.
As a player, is how do you get to be that one who plays the most?
And that you do. As a player, you want to... I mean, Bruyne is right. You do want to play every game, but what I understand is how it is today. If we're a club that's going for every trophy, the mentality of me thinking, if I'm playing today, I can't play every game. I need to know that Bruyne is world-class and Bruyne is going to do it. And then when it's my turn, he respects and knows I'm going to do it.
Brownie is itching. We're going to leave this right here. He is absolutely itching. He wants to get on that pitch again. We'd love to see you again in Sky Blue. Speaking of somebody who did play in Sky Blue, and City fans will know a lot, not just as a player but as a coach as well, is Crystal Palace manager Patrick Vieira. One man who knows him really well is our managing director of global football, Brian Marwood, and we got his thoughts about how well Patrick is doing.
Patrick's very humble. I think when you meet him and you spend time with him, you very quickly realise and understand, there's this real inward determination and a strong character that made the most of everything he had as a player. I always had great faith in him. The kind of the moment we signed him here as a player, I felt he could make a significant contribution, not just to Manchester, but obviously the direction we were going in as a group, and I thought that he would bring good leadership qualities that he'd always shown as a player to whatever he wanted to do off field. He wasn't quite sure, of course, when he finished playing, and then he eventually decided that coaching was the route he wanted to take, and I think he's done a really good job, and he should be very proud of where he is now. But I also know him well to know that he's very competitive. He wants to do well. He wants to be the best he possibly can be. We were always looking at what the long term for Patrick, and it was a logical next step to stay within the group, to stay with one of our clubs. New York had a good structure, good setup. I felt the MLS was, a good next step for him to challenge himself. And then there was a little bit more pressure on getting results. But again, he took to it really well, loved his life in New York, loved what was happening at the club. We got close, we were on the verge of success a few times, couldn't quite get over that line in the playoffs. But he created a team that played in a very strong City style, something that we're all very passionate about, and he took that from what he learned and was educated here, and he developed and honed that in New York, and was highly regarded there. He enjoyed a little bit of success when they came here to our stadium last year, and I'm sure he'll want to repeat that. And of course, I think Pep and the team will maybe want to correct and put that right.
And there you go, Brian Wildwood. Thank you for them amazing thoughts. We wish Patrick, of course, all the best. Not really so much today. If you guys weren't aware, it was the Champions League draw yesterday, and we drew against Sevilla, Dortmund, and Copenhagen. What are your thoughts on our group? We've got to be favourites in the group, right?
Yeah, I'm pleased with the draw. I think certainly a group that I think we should get through. Champions League, you don't want to say just breeze through or get through easy, but I think Pep will be very pleased with it.
It's a great draw.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, it's a good draw. It's Champions League, it's difficult. You have to respect it. I think they come really, really fast, the games in between the Premier Leagues, and sometimes you feel you're looking over to get a good start in the Premier League. Do you slightly change and think, well, I can recover, we've got a few games to go in the Champions League, and sometimes that can slightly catch you out with a slower start. You've made those changes depending on your Premier League game and injuries, etc. You might think you can catch it. So really it's important if you can get that start, if personnel and injuries allow it, and I think it's so important, then you can go a little bit later, you maybe ease off slightly. But it's about qualifying, get the job done, but it's something we're all looking forward to. I think I'm sure Erling Haaland's going to be delighted with that one.
Yeah, it does.
Some brilliant trips for the supporters who will be there again in their numbers. Looking forward to it. Now, if you guys haven't joined our Matchday Live and Citizens Mini League for FPL, the code is on screen right now for you to do so. Simply sign up using that code and you have a chance to win monthly and seasonal prizes, and you have the opportunity to compete against legends like those in the studio. Now, let's have a look and see how we are doing, where there is a certain Stephen McNerney who is still out on top, unfortunately, but Mr. Shaun Gota, 13th. What on earth has happened? You seem to be slipping down ever so slightly, but it is a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Exactly my word. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So I've actually just figured out some rules. So as a manager, I'm a little behind the ball. People like Bruyne,
yeah, but to be honest, I went to go into it, but it's very time consuming, isn't it? And I'm looking, thinking I should have joined it. I didn't understand the rules. I'm thinking, am I going to get it right?
That's my reason.
So you're getting the feeling for it now.
I'm getting the feel for it.
I should have been on that. I'm actually in the group and I'm not contributing. I'm a bit poor, really, aren't I?
The thing is, there's a lot of...
Can we come in late? Actually, seeing some of those results, I've got a chance now to come in really late.
There is a lot of competitiveness, especially in the Matchday Live studio and in the FPL. A lot of people getting involved. It's a marathon, not a sprint. If you haven't joined already, please make sure to join it. Hit the code. There's some really cool prizes, including a signed City shirt for August. And this week, we had the absolute pleasure of having my good friend, FIFA streamer, and unfortunately a Spurs fan, Danny Aarons, in the studio for FPL Show Episode 2. We went through the teams with the easiest, so-called easiest fixtures to help you out through September, so take a look at this. Let's have a look at our team's fixtures for some teams in the Premier League's fixtures who we've picked out who maybe have like an easy schedule, starting with our boys Manchester City. We could see De Bruyne, Haaland, Gundogan, some of our main players surely scoring points against Palace, Nottingham Forest. Villa have not started the Prem well. Then we have the big game against Tottenham. We'll come to that a little bit. And then Wolves.
I'll tell you what's really generous. Man United being in red now because they beat Liverpool. That's pretty funny, actually. Whoever did that, credit to you. That's good crack. They're back now, yeah?
Manchester United did win a game yesterday, actually. Yeah, Danny, looking at the Man City fixtures, do you think there's a lot of points? I can't see Haaland not scoring in the majority of it.
Haaland's going to score every single game, apart from game week 7. OK?
Game week 5, though, you like...
Nottingham Forest?
At home.
Haaland? Or do you think it's going to be Pep Roulette? Oh, you're saying...
I'm saying, like, that could be...
I was thinking, when I looked at these fixtures, I was like, you know what? That's the triple captain one for Haaland.
Forest.
Then I heard Pep's comments about players playing sometimes, and Alvarez will play. And that game, I think, is midweek, am I right? Yeah. Crystal Palace Crystal Palace, and then a Tuesday against Nottingham Forest? Yeah, you will not see me touch that. Haaland will stay in the team. Oh, it's a Wednesday. Apologies. Yeah, it is a Wednesday. But literally, that's the worry for me, that Pep Roulette might come into play.
It's like the Arsenal section there, like, you know, you fancy them. You fancy them to get some points there.
Arsenal have been absolutely great so far. They're top of the league as it stands, 3 out of 3.
I don't see that changing either.
Do you see them, Danny, going on a run and winning all 5 of them games,
I mean, you would argue all 5 of them games they should win. In the current standards, they should win all 5 of them games comfortably.
Is there a particular game week that you think they'll definitely win? Remember, we're in a City studio, so we can just say game week 6 should be an easy one.
I reckon.
Hang on, does Red mean triple captain whoever's in your
Red, we might have a little side there. They are going away to Old Trafford, which can be a little bit of a difficult one. You never know. But
been known to be, yeah.
Arsenal have been brilliant this year, and they surely are one of the teams to get the players in from for FPL.
Unfortunately, mate, they are. I think every single game there they win. I'm going to do a weird shout here. I think their struggles at Everton.
Ooh,
I think they will
at home.
Yeah, no, I mean, this might sound stupid, but I really think dare I say, they lose.
Danny has got a history of saying weird things that come true, by the way,
Comes true,
So
yeah.
just remember that. And you guys watching, remember that in the back of your mind. Let's move on to Brentford. Brentford, we've already talked earlier in the show about Ivan Toney. He is surely going to cook in some of these games. Leeds at home, I mean, Leeds have started well, but you fancy Brentford at home, Nadem?
Yeah, I do, but I still can't get Tony in. Honestly, my hands are so tired at the minute. It's crippling me. I'm just seeing all my lack of options. But yeah, I think they'll be good. They did lose that last derby game, and they weren't great in that first half. But yeah, I think this is the weekend when my guy, obviously not Tony, but Mbeumo, I think he scores a hat trick. Yeah,
And Mbeumo, yeah, could actually score for you. Still in your team.
He needs to take 3 shots first, but it's a little thing.
And there you have it. Big calls from Nadem, as always, and there's some tips for you with some previous fixtures. Now, we've seen that about FPL. We did just have a conversation off camera with everybody about FPL, saying they like to keep their team consistent and various other things. The reason the FPL show is there is so people like me, I'm very much a new learner in FPL, and I imagine you guys are too.
Yes.
Learn a little bit more. It's mental. It's like real-life football, and it means a lot when you've got someone like Nadem texting you every day and telling you that he's higher than you in the table. We can't finish below Nadem, can we, guys? I mean...
No, surely we can. But at the same time, Nadem, hit me up, give me some tips.
He's on it that much. He should do well, shouldn't he?
It is a full-time job for Nadem at the minute, and it's a full-time job to be constantly in my WhatsApp when I'm failing. But you've seen the fixtures there, guys, from the FPL show. A massive shout-out to Danny. He's a FIFA streamer. It was a banging shirt as well, by the way, we did say. But earlier on, what we did is we caught up with our co-commentators, Pitchside, Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison.
Well, welcome to Pitchside. We must be, half an hour from kick-off, and I have to be honest and say that this place is absolutely bouncing. There is a real feeling of optimism today because City are up against a team who actually gave City a few problems last season in Crystal Palace, but they're a very different City now. Alongside me today is Andy Morrison. A reason I say that City are a different City is because they've got a central striker in Haaland. They couldn't find a way to score against Palace last season. Does the addition of Haaland make that more possible?
It certainly changes the dynamics of the team. We created overloads all over the pitch last year with the extra player, and it's not as though our 9 is redundant as long as we use it. And we need to keep the ball, but we also have to stretch. We have to stretch the opposition in behind with Haaland to open up the spaces. And there was times last week at Newcastle where we were unable to find them little overloads because Haaland was high. He doesn't want to come in short. We need to keep him up there and push them back. The only way we can push them back is to turn them round.
What have you seen already in terms of differences in the way that City are playing to when they didn't have an out-and-out number 9 last season?
Ali, I think it's still a work in progress. There were times last week where the centre-halves never had an option. And that's not us. We always would never ever go backwards. We'd either go square or forwards. And there were times we went backwards because we didn't have that extra midfielder that was causing the problem. They were able to get a really good press on us. I still think we should have gone a bit longer just to stretch the game. But when we get it right, you've just got an absolute beast who will terrorise people in behind. And once we start using it and we start stretching them, they'll be frightened. Then the spaces will open up.
A big bonus, really, is that Crystal Palace are without Wilfried Zaha. Now, he caused City, and in particular, Aymeric Laporte, a problem last season. Laporte, of course, sent off in that game. Huge miss for them. Is that a massive miss in terms of what they might be able to do today?
I come to a game of football, I want to watch good footballers. And he entertains. I love watching him, but I'm delighted he's not playing. And I'm sincere when I say it, how highly I rate him. And it's the way we play, a player such as Saha, a player such as St. Maximum, the problems they cause on the turnover when they don't cheat, but they find little pockets. And because we're dominating the ball, we leave ourselves a bit open. He really hurts us on many, many occasions. So for me, it's a great loss. I would have liked to have seen him, but it's a bonus for me in many ways.
Patrick Vieira, of course, the manager at Crystal Palace, he was part of the City setup as well. He'll have taken a lot of credit for those two performances last season. Do you think he's altered the way he's going to play today because Zaha isn't involved?
Well, we'll see. You know, we're working it out with the team earlier on with the names and that. We're thinking they may go to a 5. But I think he'll be positive, and he really is positive. He's not thinking a 5 to stop us. He's thinking a 5 will create 2 up top. So if he can get Ayew and Eduardo high up the pitch, he knows on the turnover, again, they can hurt us. So he's really positive. A lot of managers will go to a 5 because we need to stop City. He's going to it to cause a different problem.
As the players are literally yards away from us and kick-off is approaching, I just wonder whether or not Pep might have been delighted with the performance last week, even more so maybe than the one against Bournemouth, because to come from 2 behind in that atmosphere with the place absolutely bouncing at St James's Park, did he learn maybe even more about his team than perhaps from the performance against Bournemouth?
I think he was proud after the game. He certainly alluded to being encouraged by the relentlessness to keep in the game. Some teams will fold, you know, and another day we could have won the game. But yeah, he'll be pleased with exactly where we're at the game. But I still believe it's a transitional period. And yes, it'll be great if it clicks very quickly. And they'll be working training really hard because Pep wants to dominate the ball and overrun people in the middle third to create openings later on. With Haaland slightly higher, it's different to what we've done in the past.
Just before we wrap up, what's your prediction? What's your gut feeling?
I would have said it was going to be a tough afternoon. It still will be difficult, but I see us winning this one. I think 3-1, which is always my result, 3-1.
Fair enough. Andy says 3-1. Don't forget to download the app. Make sure that you're with me and Andy for the audio commentary throughout the game. But with that, let's get back to the studio.
Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison, absolutely brilliant. As always, pitchside, we are fast approaching kickoff, but it is time to quickly have a look at your WhatsApp questions. Remember, you can drop us a message at any time. The first question is from Paul, who's in Abu Dhabi. Wow, City have 2 right-footed centre-backs today. What impact will this have on the performance? Michael, I can see the smirk. I'll come to you on this one.
Listen, in a perfect world, we'd have that balance, wouldn't you? The natural left footer stepping forward, coming out, being able to hit diagonal passes. But listen, I think they can both cope. We look at the left-back situation. Joao Cancelo, right foot, coming inside all of the time and joining in different ways. I think the way City keep the ball, the composure that these guys have in it, I don't think it's a real issue. I think they'll both cope with it however way he goes. I mean, John Stones is as comfortable as anybody on the ball. He just needs a few more games. A couple of bad passes last week, but he'll want to improve on that. But it'll be no issue.
And Shaun?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I think, listen, we're City players. We've got top quality players. If you're, you look at all our players, they're good at handling the ball, but good coming forward. As Bruyne said, if you got a left footer, then that allows him to sort of hit those diagonals. A right footer will put it to his right foot. You would see the pass coming, whereas a left footer could have it on his left foot and not think is switching it, and he does switch it. It just gives you balance. But again, we've got quality players. They can get along quite fine.
It was a formidable partnership, Diaz and Stones, as well, through, I think it was behind the closed doors, through the lockdown. They were fantastic, and they kept numerous clean sheets, and that was...
At one point you were thinking, is John Stones going to come back? Is he going to get in the side? And obviously got himself right and played a great run. I really like John Stones, and I think it's a good combination. Listen, there's other combinations as well, but I feel like he can take the ball, John Stones, under pressure like none of the other centre-backs. So it's a different way of coming out. Ruben Diaz, that organiser, a bit more of a leader, talker, more aggressive. So good balance. We can't argue with it.
Absolutely good balance. Now, we've got another WhatsApp question, and I have to ask you this based on the last thing that happened on the last Matchday Live, and it's from Charlotte in Wigan. And she says, can you ask Shaun and Michael what their favourite ice cream is?
Isn't Wigan the pie?
Wigan is famous for
ice cream.
Ice cream pie.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I like.
That's the right man, isn't she, Shaun?
Well, they say feed the goat, innit? Ice cream, as long as it's hard, it could be soft. Hey, a little flakes with sprinkles.
Breakfast, lunch.
Lunch.
We need some ice cream at half time.
Vanilla with a nice little flake.
What are you going, vanilla?
Oh, vanilla, yeah. Soft vanilla for nice little flake. You could put some sprinkles on that.
Is it like a Mr. Whippy one or a...
Oh, Mr. Whippy, baby!
That's the one for you all the way. Me, strawberry cheesecake.
Wow. Okay. A strawberry cheesecake.
Haagen-Dazs.
I'm more of like a cookie dough type of guy.
I do like Mr. Whippy as well, if it's a good one. There's some bad ones out there as well.
Oh, that's not so bad at all. You know your ice cream buds. I'm impressed, Charlotte. Look what you've done. Now we're gonna end up speaking about this
What's
a lot.
yours?
Oh, I can eat. Look at me, mate. I eat a lot of ice cream.
Give us some.
Give us some.
Cookie dough, double chocolate.
One of my favourites again.
He's got so many favourites. He's got 11 favourite ice creams.
You cannot go wrong with a bit of Mr.
Kickoff to find them all.
Yeah.
It is. Listen, we've got plenty of time to talk about ice cream, but kickoff is fast approaching. Let me run you through the Man City team real quick as we approach 3 p.m. Before getting predictions from the guys, our Manchester City lineup, it's Ederson, Walker. That back four is Walker, Stones, Diaz and Cancelo. Rodri, Bernardo Silva, looking to get his 50 goals for Man City. Kevin De Bruyne. We have Riyad Mahrez, Phil Foden, and our number 9, Erling Haaland. Now, we are fast approaching. The atmosphere is building. It's a beautiful Manchester day. What an unbelievable... what are your expectations? We did just see the under-18s before the show do absolutely brilliantly. A 4-0 victory. Congratulations to them. Great start against Derby. If I was genuinely going for a prediction, it would 100% be 4-0, just like the under-18s, and that's what I'd go with. So what about you? What are your predictions for the game, Shaun?
Well, for me, I said off air. I said I'd go for a 2-1.
You still stick with a Palace win, yeah?
Well, steady.
Tell the truth now, Shaun. Don't start.
I was thinking 2-1 City, but I'll tell you what. See, the thing, what I'm nervous is, if we get it right, I take my prediction serious, and I'm also thinking 3-1. I'm going to stick with my 2-1. I think Palace is going to make it tough. I'm going to stick with my 2-1 City win.
It's so tough, isn't it? Do you know what I want to see today, notably more than anything? Talked about the 2 centre-backs. We talked about the defence. I think, and Rodri being that protector, I'd love to see a clean sheet. I think it'd be a really solid base to go from, and if it was 2-0 or 3, I can't make my mind up. I'd definitely take 2-0 right now. The clean sheet would be important for me with the centre-backs conceding 3 last week.
Well, that's it. 3 goals conceded last week. It'll be very important for us to bounce back. But I do back us. I mean, the atmosphere behind us is incredible. What a lovely view we've got here as well. And remember, you guys will have the exclusive commentary from Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison as well. But I mean, no Zaha today is a big loss for Crystal Palace, and I think that could be a difference. And I don't think it's going to be easy. But I'm really looking forward to seeing how we perform in this game, especially with the new edition and the Haaland effect.
Yeah, the Haaland effect. I think it's just important that we keep them sustained and we sort of stop the counter-attacks. And how we stop the counter-attacks, sometimes it's got to be clever little fouls, but we just have to be switched on, and Addison being pushed up high as well to make sure that he can receive those balls.
Like I said to you, Crystal Palace are improving. They're a threat. You've got to understand that threat first, then play from there on. But I want to see some pace, some tempo, real domination, those forward runs from the 2 midfielders, the 2 8s. For instance, the wider areas, can we get one-on-one in certain situations? And again, the fullbacks, how can they come into play to create more overloads for Manchester City? But listen, it's a great game, and I feel we can go on and win comfortably.
And there you have it. It is nearly time for our Saturday 3 p.m. We see the players in the tunnel, and it's nearly time for us to head over to our commentary team, Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison.
Well, thank you very much. It is a quite exciting prospect, this, I have to say, because City are up against a side who gave them real problems last season. As I came to the ground today, anybody who I went past said to me, this might be awkward today, and kept talking about